If you would have told me Jujutsu Kaisen would have had Kinjaku versus the Isekai truck that constantly brings main protagonists to a new world, I would have laughed and not believed you. But what you see in front of you, what is going on right here, is literally Kinjaku summoning a special grade curse, and thanks to Takaba, this truck that is obviously a reference to the Isekai truck smashes through it and one hit KOs it. There is just so much to say about that alone, I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we have a special grade cursed spirit one shot by a truck, when we know special grades can just heal, like, instantly. And the fact that it was pretty much one shot, just, bro, what? But it doesn't just stop there. You literally have this chapter, like, go from a truck coming in, killing a special grade curse, to a, like, breathalyzer, for instance, Kinjaku's like, hey, have you been drinking? To them putting alcohol or the breath, like the breathalyzer, to this fish in a bag that's already half dead, to bringing it into a hospital, to checking it if it's alive, to shocking the man, to then straight up saying it's too late. And then you have Mommy Kinjaku here turning into a nurse, and it's like, yo, what? There is, like, it would not be wrong to say, like, what is even going on? Like, I could definitely see a lot of people, after reading this chapter and the previous chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen, being like, what the hell is even happening right now in the manga? Like, we literally have this whole moment here where, like, Kinjaku and Takaba, they're like, doing this little dance. Like, they're doing the, rock, paper, scissors, like John Ken and all that. And it's just like, yo, what? Like, oh my goodness. What a whiplash of just moments. Like, a few chapters back, like 7 chapters ago, we had that whole crazy stuff with Gojo and Sukuna, but now we're having this, and it is honestly just, I gotta be honest, guys, like, what I'm looking at here, like this, I think this might be the greatest shonen fight I've ever seen. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not even gassing this. I'm not trying to gaslight anyone. I think that we might be witnessing the greatest shonen fight ever conceived in manga. Like, this is insane. Like, yo, this is legit insane. Like what's crazy about this, okay, is the meta level humor that is thrown into this. Like, let's look at this one for a second, okay? There's an interesting one. Like, you have it like, where there's a defib, like when they're defibbing the man, they literally talk about how, like, prepare for defibrillation on you, and it's just like, you see the shock, like the skeleton and bones here. It plays in with the old gags and stuff of old cartoons and all that, and it's so funny. Like, obviously the humor is hit and miss, and that is the whole entire point of what is going on here in this chapter, or these chapters. But when you get to this final moment here, where Kinjaku's like, it's showtime, partner, and he looks at Takaba and he's like, yeah, and they walk on stage to do like a comedy duo, I'm like, bro, this is not something I expected, not something I knew I needed until I read it. But when I saw this scene, I was like, maybe this could have a change in Kinjaku as a character. Like, this scene right here is really important. I think a lot of people are not going to think about this too much, but when Takaba and Kinjaku are sitting here playing in the fantasy, yes, you heard me, it was definitely a pun. Like, the whole thing here that says it's Fanta, the sea is made of Fanta, it was a play on the sea, Fanta, sea, fantasy, yeah. Anyways, bad joke. And once again, that's the whole point of the chapter. But the main concept here is you see, like, Takaba and Kinjaku, they're having this very joyous time. There's a lot of laughs and funniness, gags, etc. And even though Kinjaku's mind is getting messed with thanks to just this ability that Takaba is using, it doesn't change the fact that there might be some truth here. That, like, what's going on here, that this is obviously Kinjaku saying this. Like, I haven't had this much fun in centuries. My heart's leaping for joy. It makes the calling game completely worthwhile. And then, like, he completely shuts it out by shoving, Takaba into the water trying to drown him. It's like a nice little comedy gag. This happens a lot in different comedy shows. But basically, when you think about this, it could be Kinjaku trying not to accept the truth, that this really is fun. And yes, we do know, when it comes to this ability that is currently being used, he is definitely getting his mind messed with. It's doing damage to him and all that. And it's kind of like soul manipulation to a degree. I think that's what he called it. Let's see here. He actually gives it a name here where it's like a soul manipulation. But like, it's pretty spooky stuff. Like, the ability that Takaba is using is not something that is necessarily weak. But I feel like it's drawing out the emotions within Kenjaku and like what he really wants or yearns for. And I think that this little line here of him saying he's having fun, I think is actually truth. I do. I think there is elements here that is very truthful, and he's experiencing emotions that he's never experienced before. Because we got to think about this. He's a being that's lived for a very long time, hopping from body to body, etc. And he's experienced a lot, but there's definitely a wide range of things probably he hasn't experienced with certain emotions and all that. And, you know, being an individual that is now laughing and having this joyous time with another individual like a partner is definitely awakening something within him that he probably was completely unaware of. Something that, you know, he's never really experienced before, or something he hasn't thought about in a very long time. And I think that, you know, after everything is said and done, I do feel like Kenjaku might actually not kill Takaba off. And hear me out, okay? There's different directions that this whole thing can go, okay? Obviously, Kenjaku, as a character, he is the big bad. Like, you know, people like to say Sukuna is the main villain, but honestly, Kenjaku's probably more of the in-game villain than Sukuna, in my personal opinion. Now, I could be wrong there, I'm willing to accept that, but that's my personal take on this. But I do think that this very exchange between these two characters can lead to a few things, to where Kenjaku is going to have a slight change in personality, to where he's going to have a different understanding of what he wants, or he might try to extend a hand to Takaba and be like, why don't you actually be my partner? Because I feel like deep down, there is some fun, mutual exchange of fun between these two characters, and I think that Kenjaku is going to want to keep that. And I feel like, you know, he's wanting to keep Takaba around once everything is said and done. I feel like he'll at least offer him the ability to not get killed off. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. But regardless, we need to talk about this ability, okay? This ability is legitimately broken beyond belief. Like, it legitimately is insane, and I honestly just can't believe how insane it actually is. This man is capable of distorting reality, changing the expressions of someone, changing what is going on around them in a space, and everything that is going on here, when you take a hard look at just what Takaba is doing, it legitimately looks like a domain expansion. Like, if you did not know anything about this, like, if you were to tune into this chapter, not know anything really was going on, and you're taking a look at all these antics, and kind of try to really seriously approach this, you would say that Takaba is doing domain. Like, he is literally doing a domain expansion. But, from everything that we have seen, it doesn't look like he's actually done that. And it's pretty spooky stuff, just how strong his domain expansion is. And I actually want to take a comment here. Someone sent this to me a while back. And thank you very much, Hero Arts, for sending this to me. It reminded me of just how strong he was. But this is what the author of Jujutsu Kaisen said about Takaba's, you know, ability. He said, his ability, comedy, or comedian, allows him to manifest situations he imagined are funny into reality. It's an ability effective even against Gojo Satoru. Which, that right there is huge. The fact that that little box, that bracket, says that this could actually affect Gojo is insane. Because what it does is it effectively manipulates reality. It literally is a reality manipulation technique that not just distorts the environment, but literally distorts the psyche of the people affected by it. And it's a pretty powerful technique. Obviously, Takaba doesn't fully understand how it works himself, but I think because of that is what truly makes it just so powerful and absolutely scary. Like, you have Kenjaku, this man that is able to summon special grade curses. Like, we even have the chapter open up to this, and it just gets one shot. And special grade curses are no joke. They're not jokes of creatures. They definitely can do a lot of damage. We know this. And the fact that it just got one shot because of a random truck, because of Takaba's comedy of the isekai, it's just like, oh my goodness, that's actually insane. And the fact of the matter is Kenjaku himself, he even mentions that he's repeatedly taking damage. Like, he even says it here. These situations are mere simulations to him, but the damage I'm suffering is taking a toll. This won't end until it satisfies his desires for laughs. It's a fight that brute force won't settle. Basically, it's a completely different fight. It's not a battle of strength. It's not a battle of, like, oh, I'm stronger than you with physical strength. No, this is literally a battle of comedy. Like, who is funnier, and can you satisfy this man that loves comedy to finally be like, you know what? I'm done. I am satisfied and move on. But the question is when you take a hard look at this character, we need to look at this, okay? This is the introduction of Takaba, back in chapter 146, the first time we ever laid eyes on him, and we're almost 100 chapters since he's been introduced, and it's very clear, he wasn't well received as a comedian, people didn't like him, and we've had a lot more establishment to his character as of late, but the point is it's very clear that, he wanted to be a comedian, but he wasn't good at it, and you can see he has a very sad outlook on how he views his comedy and all that, just when you look at this, and what people used to say to him, and I think that everything about this is pretty interesting, because it shows that he's a guy that just wants to have a laugh. He wants to make people have joy, and, even if it's maybe one person, it could probably mean a hell of a lot to him, and I feel like at the end of the day, if he can make Kenjaku earnestly laugh and be happy, he legitimately will also be very happy, and this is why I was talking about how they could be potentially partners. I could definitely see maybe what really is going to happen after everything is said and done here, is that they actually might become partners, and Takaba might fall to being a villain or something. That'd be crazy. Like, legitimately crazy, but anything can happen. I mean, this is, Jujutsu Kaisen. But, anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that the ability of Takaba is so broken, it could mess with Gojo, because it's not technically an ability that is just physically attacking you. It just, he warps reality. So he would absolutely destroy Gojo. Like, honestly, I legitimately think Gojo would get absolutely annihilated by Takaba. Like, that's legitimately insane. Like, it is. Sukuna, I don't know. I don't know how you'd fare against Sukuna, but it's potential he could even do damage maybe to Sukuna. So, there's a lot going on here. Like, I like this chapter. I like what has been cooked up in these latest chapters. I know there's a lot of comedy and gags, and people are more or less saying, what the hell is going on? But I do like how this is just a very unique approach to a fight. And it makes sense why he was the perfect counter to Kenjaku, because Kenjaku has so many cursed spirits that he can unleash. The only way to really trap him is a fight that isn't about brute force. Literally, Takaba is doing better than anyone else has ever done against him, which is... that's actually insane. It legitimately is insane. Like, Chozo did less. But, I'll leave it at that. I wanted to talk about this chapter of JJK. Legit has been insane, and, I can't believe how good this is. Like, I can't wait. I have a bad feeling that something really bad is going to happen next week for this character, but we'll see. Anyways, be safe, stay healthy, everyone. I love ya. Chibi out.